We passed the moment when ESG were just 3 random letters in the alphabet, and sustainability is not just a buzzword. So to moderate this panel, I invite on stage one of the running forces of the investment ecosystem in Romania and someone who supported women entrepreneurship for a long time. She plays a crucial role in the investment process of numerous companies such as Seedbank and SmartBill. She's a board observer in more than 10 companies, and she oversaw exits of SmartBill to Visma and Greenhorse Games to Miniclip. The investment manager of Catalyst Romania, Alina GEORGESCU. A round of applause, and she will introduce the guests. Thank you. I will pass the microphone. I will just take yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Also from my side, good to see such a big attendance still at this pretty late time. So thank you all for still being here. It's my pleasure to moderate this panel, and I'm sure it will be a very interesting discussion. So I will gladly invite my guests. And I will start with my first one. He joined OMV Petrom Gas and Power in 2010 to manage the Dorobanțu wind project, successfully completing its construction and initiating its operation. Since 2013, he has been leading the portfolio management department at OMV Petrom, optimizing the entire value chain for electricity and natural gas. Over the years, he has volunteered in education, entrepreneurial projects, collaborating with Junior Achievement Romania, an innovation lab. I have the pleasure to present you the head of the portfolio management department within the gas and power division of OMV Petrom, Mr. Cătălin HRISTESCU. My second guest is a lawyer, a managing partner at Euroinsol. She has a huge experience both in legal and she's a leader in the Romanian insolvency market. She founded Kids in Business, so we also have some, again, entrepreneurial background. This is the only entrepreneurial education program for children taught from primary school onwards. She has also been the vice president of CONAF, an ambassador and mentor for women's entrepreneurship, honors that were awarded in 2010 and 2011 by the European Commission. I invite here Mrs. Nicoleta MUNTEANU. He's an investment and corporate venturing professional with extensive deal-making and management experience across the EU, including Romania. He has successfully executed over 30 transactions at Euromedic International, Burning Issues, Impact Fund, and Raiffeisen PE. He is an international guest, and I want to thank him for taking the time to come here and to join us. He's managing startups in healthcare and leads ESG and responsible investments initiatives at HRITES Capital Partners, a technology-focused fund in the region, which we strongly collaborate with. I now present to you Mr. Zoltan FUZESI. And last but not least, he's an experienced professional accounting with over 15 years of work and strong expertise in change management, strategy development, and financial management. His specializations lies within the energy sector, where he has been involved either as advisor or project manager, currently heading the business controlling team of DelGaz Grid. We invite on stage with us the head of finance and performance management at DelGaz, Mr. Mihnea ZAMFIR. I guess I will be here. First of all, thank you, everybody, for accepting our invitation. Initially, we thought this panel of being focused on SDGs, and then I've realized that somehow, like Vlad said, it's all about also ESG, which we've known about, and at the end of the day, it's sustainability. And my first question would be within the sustainability theme to ask you whether you believe that sustainability has always been so important in the companies that you are representing, or if it has gained more awareness in the past years.
Wants to start? Then I will start. I think that to a certain extent, sustainability was forever in any company in Romania or abroad. Maybe it was not so clearly defined as sustainability. Maybe it was not in the first row of a decision, but gradually was moving in line with the focus in the society when it comes to sustainability. Because you need ultimately to react to the customer. And the customer is the society, regardless if you have a very niche product or you have a very broad product or you have a commodity like in our case. So for us, for example, sustainability was, since I joined the company, I was actually recruited to do the first step, which was a very bold movement at that point in time for the industry, for an oil and gas, to go for gas-fired power plants and to go for renewables. So we started like this. We were developing gradually the projects and ultimately the assets in sync with all our sustainable goals. And they evolve during the time to ESG, to a lot of complex definition, to a lot of new KPIs. And ultimately, I'm very proud to say that we are the first company in Romania that voluntarily decided to adhere to the disclosure on the climate-related financials. And we are right now, based on the latest ranking, top 3 oil and gas company from the sustainability index. So for us and for the whole team that's working in OMV Petrom, we are very proud, and we take sustainability as a way of working, a way of developing the business, and a way of serving ultimately the customers. And I'm pretty sure that is valid for everybody in the company, even if it's a startup, even if it's not considered on PowerPoints as a sustainability goal. It's somehow in the water cooler discussion that talks about the impact that their idea, innovation is having to society, and that's the fundamental definition of sustainability.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to?
Just you ask whether, is this a new thing or not a new thing. Actually, if you look at the Bible, the first book of the Bible talks about that man was created to take care of what was created by God. So it means that this is something very inherent and important for us to do. And obviously we had time when the only measurement was money, and that was the main measurement during the years of capitalism. And actually we are just shifting back towards that we have to take care of our environment or society much more, and this is what comes back now. And it's actually a very big push, very big change in the last years. It's demanded firstly by the people already, so the customers. So if you have a company, it's already demanded by the customers. Investors are pushing extremely, not only like VC investors, but fund of funds or pension funds are also investing only in funds which actually follow and take good care besides money, that they are supporting society and environment. And thirdly, actually, we are living in Europe, and Europe is one of the, in the whole world, the strongest in terms of creating legislations, which will not only just asking, but it's a demand that we will need to fulfill. So there are new legislations coming, the Corporate Sustainability Directive, which is now only relates to big companies, so big companies are following. But in a few years, these reporting, beside financials, that you need to report what you do for the environment and for the society, it will become mandatory. So if you're a company, a startup, which you are starting now, then probably when you will exit in like 4 or 5 years, it will be a requirement that you follow ESG reporting, and then you do everything in that matter. And thirdly, what's also very important, if you're a small company, maybe you're not a large one, but if you want to become a supplier of a larger company, then you will also need to fulfill and follow these regulations and rules. So I think it's something which is very hot, and all the small companies should deal with ESGs and follow these requirements.
Yeah, I fully agree with the points shared. I think it's been around for a long time, actually since forever, but it's picked up, and it's picked up massively in the last few years. The focus that we see nowadays and the whole energy transition, which is a reality, it's not just a credo, it's not just an idea, it's happening as we speak, because we see the growth that we have, for example, in renewables, PVs being connected. We are a grid operator, and we've seen triple-digit growth in 1 year on that. So it's actually here, it's gathering a lot of tractions, it's there from all the stakeholders, which means it's actually happening and has a lot of buy-in from customers, because there's demand on the market for the products from the suppliers that you mentioned. It doesn't matter if you're a small company, if you're working in this ecosystem, there is a demand and there is a very kind, let's say, ask that you are compliant with this, the ESG principles. So I would say that it's picked up in Romania, it's growing, but the future, what lies ahead, look at Western Europe, for example, where e-trucks are coming along. In Romania, you don't hear anything yet about e-trucks. Heat pumps, the way heat pumps are growing, for example, in Western European countries. So the pace at which it will grow, it will be exponential. And the challenge of the decade for us, and I think for a lot of the participants in the market, will be this transition, which is driven by these ESG principles.
So from my point of view, the sustainability is a holistic approach that it's approach to meeting our needs from the present without compromising the new generation vision to meet their own needs. So from this point of view, I think that the education is very important and playing a crucial role, because give us a very important and profound understanding about the sustainability concept. When we are talking about the sustainability in education, it's not only about the environment issue, it's about also the economic and the social environment. So when we will understand that all these three dimensions are connected, we are able to do changes, to change mentality and to create a better world, because all the individuals can create a better world for us. So I'm speaking about education because as a teacher and as educational entrepreneurial education program for kids, I had the possibility to work with them and to be involved in the sustainability programs. And it is very important for us to create a new generation with focus on sustainability. From the other side, from the other point of view, I saw many NGOs which are involved in very responsibility project, and also with the focus on the sustainability, and that create a better community, and we are very happy to do that.
Thank you. I will take the advantage of having two representatives from the energy sector, and I will start by asking you, Mr. HRISTESCU, first. How is in the context of the energy transition, how do you see the role of natural gas in the overall strategy, because you are one of the biggest players?
Thank you for the question. I think that gas, it's the, let's say, the bridge that we need to reach our energy transition goals. Because even this evening we are in a theater. It was not built for conference, it was not built for this, but the flexibility of the design, it's allowing us multiple use. And that's the let's say, the most important aspect of gas. gas is providing flexibility, which is so needed when it comes to renewables. We love renewables because, as a definition, it's capturing something that exists, a resource that it's regenerated, but has the, let's say, the predictability of a nature event, almost impossible to really predict. And we are a society that it's expecting to operate in almost any condition, and we don't want to degrade from that level of working and to go back to organize our activity based on the sun. So that's why we need to have a flexible solution in our mix. And that's why the gas, which has a lower emission compared to other fuels, is the bridge that we need to go for the transition. And we move ahead. We are focusing on developing our portfolio of products around gas. We are looking for extending our gas sources through explorations, which means ultimately have higher production, but also to origination and trading in order to be the preferred supplier for our customers and for their journey into the energy transition, as we are able to provide the flexibility that they are looking for. So I would say that gas, it's something that we will need in the mix, and we are ready to support this need of our customer properly.
Thank you. And Mihnea?
Yeah, no, again, on this one, it's a bridge. So we are in a blessed position as a country. The availability of resources puts us in a position where our approach to this transition should be measured and tailored. We are in the position where we have gas available for the next many decades. It's a still growing business, and we will need to capitalize on this. It will be around. For us personally, what I'd like to add, of course, there will come the transition to hydrogen. We are the first company that did hydrogen testing in Romania. DelGaz did it this year, but in the first instance, this will be a blend. So gas will still be there. It will be gradually blended with hydrogen. The purity of the hydrogen will increase, and of course, at the end of the road, but it's, I would say, a very, very long bridge, like you mentioned, and we should use it wisely, benefit from it, and, like I said, capitalize and tailor this approach to the transition, because we are in, like I said, the highly blessed position to have this around.
Yes, and congrats for the testing that you are doing in blending hydrogen. I think that's the way of moving forward into energy transition, by being, as a country, being not only the market that's absorbing technology, but also the market that is providing answers. And we have a strong focus here in Romania on multiple technologies. There is an experience in several bricks that will be part of the energy transition, and VCs could also go further on the existing initiatives, on the skills and capital that exist in terms of human resources, and be part of the solutions required to have a successful energy transition.
Thank you. And I think if we're talking about transitioning, we're also discussing about how do we invest the resources that we have. And now I would like to switch a bit to the venture capital side of things and ask you, we've heard many times the buzzword responsible investing. It's also valid for companies, but in the case of VC, Zoltan, what exactly does responsible investment mean?
Responsible investment is basically a term which were developed by the UN a long time ago, and actually it has 6 principles, but the most important is that firms who are committed to responsible investments means that they are integrating into their decision making and also monitoring of their portfolio companies. They are integrating ESG elements. So it means that when they are making a decision, they are not only looking at the financials and the team and the market, but they are also looking at how the company contributes to or how they negatively contribute to, for example, environment or society, and what governance structures they have, and they implement it into their structures. And obviously what has been kind of researched that in the last 15 years, the companies which have been integrating ESGs into their investments, so they had the right processes, they tend to have a better risk management, so they tend to also have a better investment return. So it seems that it's a good approach, and this is what's following. So this is how we should invest, not only looking at the money. There are different ways. Some companies are just looking and they are disregarding investments, or they're not doing investments which actually harm. And there are later levels. There are also companies which are called impact investors, where they actually measure and they not only measure the financial return, but they are measuring certain KPIs, how they contribute to the environment or how they solve certain social aspects. And this is how they even motivate the managers. But this is like a tendency that funds are moving from a pure capitalistic funds toward impact funds. It doesn't mean that every fund should become an impact fund, but there is room for them also.
Okay, you mentioned team in terms of responsible investments, and now this is a subject we need to touch, meaning how do you address equality, gender equality, and how do you see the society moving? And I will kindly, because you're involved both in kids, both education, and representative of CONAF. So we have both a women's association and the other pillars.
You see, every time when we are talking about sustainability and gender equality and equality of opportunity, we are talking about education, because education is very important. Why? When you are focused on gender equality, that means that all individuals need to have access to the educational process, and that it's possible with the support of all of us. And what we are doing as a women, because we are involved in that kind of process and projects, and every time we want to educate the people and to eliminate the stereotypes, because at the school the main focus is to eliminate the stereotypes by creating a culture of respect. So I guess that we are in this moment in a very properly moment. Why? Because when I was to the school 2 years ago at 6th grade, and I asked my kids, what is an entrepreneur? Are only the man or only the female? I was so surprised, because they told me that entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs are women and men in the same time. So from that point of view, I consider that the new generations already eliminate the stereotypes. So I guess that the problem is with us, with our generation, to be more involved in the responsibility projects and to eliminate the stereotypes that still in our place. When we are talking about the equal opportunities, we are talking about education also, because that means that all the individuals have to access to resources and opportunities in order to realize their purpose, to realize their project. So all the time education is important, and I guess that the women are more involved with that kind of project, and they really can change the world with their implication and with their creativity. because at the school, starting from 6 to 18, they understand how to change the mentality and how to create a better world and how to develop the critical thinking, the entrepreneurial skills, how to develop their own businesses. Why? Because we want a green economy, we want a good economy for everybody, and my kids want money to pay in cash.
Just maybe a few words. I mean, there has been a lot of research. For example, if you talk about involvement of women in management or different teams, I mean, there has been a lot of research that decision making is always better when there is a more diverse group of people, and it's always been shown that if there are women also part of the decision making, so they are part of boards, then the whole tone is much more creative, and men don't start to fight that much. So this basically makes it possible to find the solution. So a lot of times equality in teams helps to make much better decisions. So it's also you know, if you're a good manager, I'm not saying that you should have positive discrimination, but sometimes you do. But it's also your interest to have a diverse teams in your decision making, and maybe it's okay. I give you rather the word.
No, on this one, I mean, for us, it's clearly one of our objectives as well, and. Just as a fun fact related to what you say, from the finance leadership team where I come, it's 75% women. So I'm actually in the. So for us, at least this is one of our goals, and we see it, and we see times changing, and I can only confirm what you say. Decisions are taken in a much more smoother and efficient way in our team, but clearly it's a focus, and we are trying to also. Drive this with our employees, this cultural, to instill this also in the work that we do with contractors and with everybody else. So it's clearly a priority for us as well.
Vlad is telling me that we don't have much time, so I will just ask a final question, and I will ask you, if possible, to give a shorter answer. Is sustainability contributing to a company's economics, or is it more of a hinder in terms of making money?
I can. So saying that it's hindering, it's not actually. It's a misconception, but there is a certain specific to it. The capital need on the short run is huge, so there's a lot of money at stake. The money around, it's quite limited. The return on doing this kind of assets, especially in the energy industry, it's long term. So it puts a lot of pressure on liquidity, I would say. And here the solution is a mix, and this is all actually happening. And here all the stakeholders, like the public authorities, we have a mix between our internal, the equity funding, the banks, the loans, and also the grants coming from the European Union. So this is one thing that needs to stay around, and this mix needs to go ahead. Also the money being offered to clients, for example, for PVs. You see this boom on PVs, which could have not been possible without the grants received by the customers to finance part of their acquisition. So this is one aspect. It's not hindering, but it's stressing a lot the liquidity. And what also I think would need to happen is that these types of investments, ESG related, should be incentivized, further incentivized going forward. We see this in our relation with the banks, for instance, where the margin mechanisms are adjusted. But going forward, I think in order to relieve this temporary pressure and to make this happen, this time pressure of liquidity needs to be eased somehow. But hindering, no, because in the long run, it's beneficial. At the end of the day, the economics look positive as well. The question is how you get there, how you pass this huge challenge ahead. We have the tools together with all the relevant stakeholders, but the discussion should take place continuously and to try to identify in a timely manner the solutions.
I think it does takes effort to take care of your environment and your community around you. So it does take an effort. But you know, you ask the question whether when you are spending money to your child, whether it's something hindering you or not. I mean, so you need, this is part of life. We just need to go back to the normal way of operating, and you know, take care of our environment and our society.
To continue in the same circle, I would say that sustainability is not bringing more complexity, or is not bringing bridges that you have to cross bigger or more complex than any other challenge that you have in any kind of business. It's just something that gives you long-term perspective that ultimately unlocks energy in the people, in your customers, and ultimately is providing a strong, not to use sustainable, future for a company. So yes, it's part of the thing that you have to address when you have an idea and you want to turn it in a functional product. And this is part of the creation. You need to have a challenge in order to come up with something that it's better than it was yesterday. So it's a good challenge that you have, and I think it gives benefits regardless of the size of the company. We have there a heavy regulated business. Here we have a mixed regulated, and on that chair we have a completely unregulated, if I may say it, part of the business, and we have the same opinion. I'm very curious how it is to on the side of education and ONG, how they feel it from their perspective.
Actually, just one thing, the investment area, it's starting to be regulated. There are new legislation just came in, and funds have to fulfill a lot of requirements, and it's getting tougher and tougher, and funds need to report on certain elements, and if you want to call yourself a green or sustainable fund, then you have to fulfill a lot of regulations and taxonomy. So it's very interesting that our parties start to be regulated also.
Exactly, and on the other side, not on the way that you operate, but actually on the way that you are able to develop.
Yep, that's right.
So, because in primary school we are teach the kids about the sustainability. We launched last year the Sustain Kids competition, where the kids starting from grade 2, 3, and 4 are to that competition, and they are working to their business plan and develop their sustainable business models, and they are so creative and so innovative. Then I'm very happy that we will change, and we will have a great entrepreneurs in a few years. More than that, last year the National Confederation of Entrepreneurs launched the Entrepreneurial Marathon, where the youth, teenagers from high school were in the front of the jury with the business plans and with the business models. And as I was very impressed to find that the many business plans has sustainability component in their businesses. And for that, I'm very honored to be member of the CONAF and to be part of the education programs.
Thank you very much. I think we could dwell 2 more hours on this topic. I want to thank you for being here and for valuable insights on the topic. And I hope we'll have other chances to discuss.